Good evening, or actually it's still afternoon here in Tucson. What a beautiful day that we had today here in Tucson, Arizona. Only got up to 69 degrees. So I threw open the windows, and we've got a really nice breeze, and I let fresh air circulate through the apartment here, and that's always a good thing. Haven't been able to do that. I couldn't tell you when the last time I could do that because of the heat. And again, they're calling overnight temperature, I believe, of about 38 degrees here in Tucson, Arizona. That's pretty cold for us. And in some areas, they're calling for a hard freeze. I've got some tomato plants in my garden out front, and I'm going to go ahead and cover those up for the night just in case. I don't think it's going to be a hard freeze here where I'm at, but better safe than sorry. So it's about 20 minutes after 5. I'm starting to think of something for dinner. I'm going to have, I guess a couple weeks back I made some meatloaves, and whenever I make meatloaf, I make enough to always have to make 2, and usually eat on one and then put one in the freezer for later. So I'm going to have that tonight. I'm going to have some meatloaf and some mashed potatoes left over from dinner last night. And I'm going to show you how to make hot water cornbread. You're not going to believe how simple it is. I've got my oven preheating to 500 degrees. And let me get the pan that I'm going to use to show you guys. It's a cast iron skillet. And you can see it's got 8 different sections here. That way you can pour the batter into each one of these. And each piece of cornbread cooks up nice and crispy. One of the things I like about cornbread are the sides and the bottom if you cook it in a regular pan, and you can use a regular pan for this. But with this particular pan, you get the crispy sides all around each piece of cornbread. So I'm going to use that. So I'm going to gather together the ingredients here and show you how simple it is to make this. Alrighty. So, believe it or not, hot water cornbread requires, I'm going to use, in this bag I have Aunt Jemima's self-rising cornmeal. That's all that we need. And hot water. That's it. Just 2 ingredients, except I add a little extra salt because I like a little more salt in my cornbread. And then I've also got some canola oil here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of canola oil in each of these little wedges in the pan. Not a whole lot, just not even a capful. Just enough to cover the bottom. Woohoo! This is the full bottle. It's kind of hard to measure. There we go. Get me a rag to wipe the sides so I don't get oil all over my floor. Whoop, here's some over here. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on the stove on one of the large burners. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it on high. And we're going to heat that pan up. We're going to heat that pan up until it starts smoking, until the oil starts smoking. And while that's While that's going, I'm going to pour me some of this cornmeal into a bowl. That's probably plenty. I have no measurements for this. You'll have to do it yourself one time and see what you get. Add a little extra salt. That's plenty. And now I'm just going to turn on my tap water. I'm going to get it good and hot. I have I get pretty good hot water out of my tap. If you don't, then what you may want to do is boil some water to put in the mix. But I get pretty good hot water. It comes out steaming right out of my faucet. So I'm going to wait for this to get good and hot to where I see steam coming off of it. Go ahead and stir this cornmeal and salt. Now, if you don't have self-rising cornmeal, you can use regular cornmeal. You're just going to have to add the other ingredients yourself. You can look that up online. What do I substitute for self-rising cornmeal? And it'll tell you. This is white cornmeal. So, all right, that's getting pretty hot. May take a little longer since it got so cool outside. I went ahead and put the meatloaf was still a little bit frozen, so I went ahead and put it back in a loaf pan, covered it with foil, and put it in the oven as well. There we go. That's pretty hot. Now, I'm going to add a little water, and I'm going to start mixing. And I can already tell it's way too thick, so I'm going to add some more water, and I'm going to mix. What we're looking for is about a buttermilk consistency to the batter. That's more like a cream of wheat. Just a little more. And that looks pretty good. See that? Just like a real not as thick as a pancake batter, bit thinner, and it's more like the consistency of buttermilk. Okay, so we're going to set that there until the pan starts smoking. It's going to be a cool day tomorrow as well here in Tucson. So hopefully it'll be another day of being able to keep the windows open and air circulating in here. Did a little bit of laundry today the old-fashioned way. Did it in the bathtub. And boy, that's a workout, rinsing clothes out with your hands, man. I'll tell you, I don't know how they did it back in those ages. But anyway, you know, I've got nothing but time recently, so I figured why give some machine all of my coins when I can do it myself. And as a matter of fact, I still have some towels and a couple pair of pants hanging on the walls out front in the breeze to dry. And so there's a couple more areas around here that I need to tidy up, and I can get to hopefully tomorrow. And the whole place could use a good vacuum. Alrighty, let's take a look here. See how this pan is starting to smoke? That's what we're looking for. Is for the oil to get really, really smoky. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pull the pan off of the burner. We'll go ahead and turn that burner off. And I'm going to pour a little bit of batter into each section. You hear all that sizzle? That's what's making the good crunchy part. You see how it's all bubbling and frying up already. So we're going to go ahead and as soon as the oven comes up here, we're already there. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. Let me get the other pot holder. And we're going to bake it until it's golden brown. I'm going to say maybe 10 to 12 minutes at that degree of 500 degrees. Alexa, set a timer for 12 minutes.
12 minutes, starting now.
Clean up the stove top here. A little bit of that oil went splattered out. Clean as you go, people. Clean as you go. One thing that I really hate, I mean, I love to cook, but the way that I used to cook was I'd dirty everything up, and then I would go and eat, and then I had this mess that I wasn't looking forward to clean up after dinner. So I learned quite a while back ago that if you clean as you go, there's not so much of a mess to clean up when you're done. Like this bowl, for instance. I'm going to go ahead and rinse that out, throw it in the dishwasher, and we're done with it. We don't have to worry about that until we don't have to worry about it after dinner. And you'll see me, I'm always wiping, spot wiping and everything. So it's just a good habit to get into. If there's one thing that I despise, it's a dirty sink. I just, dishes piled up in it, I just don't like that. Drives me crazy. So, all right, so we'll come back as soon as this cornbread is done. Alrighty, so the timer just went off, so we're going to check that cornbread. I put on some iced tea to boil, so I can have some tea tomorrow. Oh, let's see. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Here's a hint for you on the iced tea. When I make iced tea, I use 4-gallon size bags in a pot of water, probably in a 6-quart pot, my larger saucepan, and I bring it to a boil, and whoops, wrong lid. No, it's not. And then I take it off of the heat. Whoa, that's hot. That is the wrong lid. I take it off of the heat, put our lid on it. Alexa, set a tea timer for 20 minutes.
Tea timer, 20 minutes, starting now.
And I let it steep for about 20 minutes. What I get is a very heavy, concentrated form of iced tea. Then I put it in a then I put it in this. I use this container and refill it. And I will pour that in here, and then I'll fill it up with water to the top. So it's still concentrated, even after adding some water. Then when I decide to make a glass of tea, I just pour in a little bit of tea and then complete it with water to dilute it to whatever strength that I want. So that saves me from having to make, I drink a lot of iced tea, a lot of water, period. That saves me from having to make tea every other day or every 3 days. That'll last for a week or more. So, all right, let me check this again. Go ahead and put my mitts on. Alexa, set a cornbread timer for 4 minutes.
Cornbread timer, 4 minutes, starting now.
All right, so we're going to go 4 more minutes on it. Sun has gone down here in Arizona, and I brought in the laundry I had outside, except for the jeans. They're still pretty wet, so I'm going to let them stay out there until I go to bed. And everything else I brought in, and they're dry enough that I could just hang them up to finish drying. So now the debate is whether to leave the windows open overnight or not. So we'll have to play it by ear. If it gets cold enough, we may have to crank the heat on tonight. And I don't mind doing that because other than the electric to run the fan, I'm not charged for heat. So that's kind of nice. I get charged for running AC, of course, because that's all electricity. But the heat is, I forget how they explained it when I moved in, but I'm not actually charged for, in other words, there's nothing in here that is causing the electric bill to go higher, creating the heat. So anyway, we'll see how it goes tonight. I'm going to let you all go. I'll be back as soon as this cornbread and meatloaf is done. Alrighty, y'all. Cornbread's done. Look at those. 8 little individual cornbreads. I'm going to go ahead and turn them out over this towel I've got here. There we go. And you can see, look at those, how crunchy the sides are.
Your cornbread timer is done.
Alexa, stop. Alright, and that's it. That's how you make the hot water cornbread. It's very, very simple to do. Very simple to do. And, you know, if you ever find yourself not having any milk or buttermilk and you want cornbread, you know how to do it. So, alrighty, you have a good evening. Bon appetit. Remember that life is beautiful. Get out and vote. We got about, well, a week from tomorrow. So, I know in Arizona here, your mail-in ballots are due by tomorrow. So, you want to make sure to get those posts in the mail no later than the last pickup time at your local mailbox. Or you're going to have to find a local drop-off for it. So, we'll see you on the next video. I'm sure I will think of something that we can do together. And, alright, you have a good evening. Bye-bye.